Hello, today I am going to share how to make this perpetual folding card, or you may also have heard it called a never-ending card, and it is a standard A2 size. And what this card does is it continues to fold just all around. There's 4 complete panels. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. And the basic part assembly of this mechanism, I guess you would call it, is fairly easy to do. The longest part of this card is decorating it. Now, I have written down all of these little pieces that you need if you want to decorate every piece. You don't necessarily have to, but if you want to do every single piece, I have them written down. So to begin, you will need 2 pieces of cardstock, and these measure 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And this is a Stampin' Up! 80-pound weight cardstock. And I got a new paper trimmer. This is a Spellbinders. It's pretty good size, but it has the little scoring tool in it. My other one, my Stampin' Up! One, did, but it broke off. And the blades were getting dull, and it was an older one, and I couldn't get blades for, so I just bought a new one. It has the cutting and the scoring, so I'm just going to use this to score on. If you have a scoreboard like I usually use, you can just go ahead and use that. But the first piece, we need to score lines across this way. So put it in your trimmer or scoreboard, and we need to score 1 3/8 on each end. So 1 1/2, 1 3/8. Make sure not to cut that. And turn it. And score at 1 3/8 again. And this paper trimmer does a really good job of scoring those. Very happy with that. Alright, so your next piece of cardstock, we need to score the lines this way. And that's a little bit of an odd measurement. It's 1 1/16. It needs to go in this way. So 1 1/8 is here. So a 1/16 is the next line past your 1 inch. I know that's a very odd measurement, but that's what it is. So 1 1/16 on both sides. And that is all the scoring done. Now, what we need to do is cut each piece in half. So since this one's already here, we need to cut it in half this way. So that measurement would be 2 3/4. So put it up here, 2 3/4. And this time we need to cut in half, just like that. And then this piece we need to cut this way. So that measurement is 2 1/8. So 2 1/4, 2 1/8. I always like to measure twice, cut once. So I've been known to cut it wrong. And that is all of the cutting and scoring. So let me get the paper trimmer out of the way. Now I am going to trim a little bit of these off, and I'm going to use a different trimmer. I like the guillotine trimmer for this, because when this is assembled, these pieces are just butt up against each other. And what's helpful is if you have a tiny gap in between. So if you can see this one, there's a gap. That one's a little large. You don't have to have it that big, because these pieces are going to be touching. They're gonna possibly get in each other's way. So I'm gonna use my little guillotine trimmer. So what I suggest is taking just a tiny sliver and I mean like just that. Just a tiny bit, just to get those pieces like that. So a little bit off of each one of these. And for these two pieces, I'm going to take a little off of each one. Doesn't matter which side right at the moment, just as long as you have it orientated this way. And same thing, just a little sliver. And the next one. Another little sliver. So now we can move that. Now we can reinforce all of your score lines. And it's just as easy to fold each one and then reinforce it. And then I fold it the other way and reinforce it, because this card's going to be going both directions. So I like to do it both, reinforce both directions. And then the same with this one. Fold those both in, flip them around, reinforce, and the other way, just like that. All right, so now for the assembly part. Now you can use any type of adhesive. I'm just going to use liquid glue, that way I can wiggle it around. You can use a tape runner, strong adhesive, something that's strong. So we're going to put our adhesive on these two pieces, in this corner, and then these top corners. What you don't want to do, my little stylus, you want to keep your adhesive below the halfway mark. So it doesn't have to go way up here. So just about a square, just about as high as this is wide. There's no real measurement. It doesn't matter how high you go up, as long as you don't go above the halfway mark. So I just do about a square, just about like that. That's good. Now you want to take one of these pieces. So this piece and this piece, it's going to go right on top of that one. So set it down in there and make sure your edges are as straight as you can see. Now when this gets fully assembled, You will be able to notice if they aren't square, and that's fine. You can definitely go back and trim those off. Press that down real good. I've made 4 or 5 of these so far now, and every one's a little is a little crooked somewhere. All right, so next piece, adhesive, same way, right in this corner. Just don't go above your halfway mark, just like that. And then take this piece and we're gonna lay it right on top of that one, just like this. So they're basically gonna be side by side with that, hopefully that little gap in the middle. And get that as square as you can. And you can flip it over and see if you're squared that way. And press down. Or if you're using tape runner, it'll be already stuck. All right, so the last part of these, so this is what it looks like so far. The last part of the assembly is going to take this piece and pretty much make this piece whole again. Adhesive here, here, and we're going to attach just this corner and just this corner. And I do them separate. I don't do it at the same time. So adhesive on the top square or imaginary square. And then take this flap. This is what we have here. Take this corner and attach it to that one in the same manner. Get a hold of it right. Press down. Liquid adhesive is nice. You can wiggle it around a little bit. Get your pieces square. Press down. Now for the last one, you can get a little peek of it. See there? Adhesive in this piece, or in this corner. And we're almost done with the assembly. There's really not much to it. It's the whole decorating part that makes this card special. All right, so I'm going to put my adhesive away and press that down. Should be lined up fairly well if your cardstock is cut decently. And press that down. And that glue, that is all of the assembly. I gotta start it. It doesn't really matter which way you start it. This one I have started this way. That's basically all the assembly. So to make sure that you're not going to catch on any of your little flaps, you can go ahead and start to get this card worked. So what I like to do is I go through all of the different sides and I give all of those pieces a good press and then turn it. Same thing. And if you have anything that's catching, a lot of times these little flaps here will be the ones that are going to be catching. So once I get this all pressed, I'm going to open it and I'm just going to keep going around and around with it just to see if there's anywhere that is catching. And we're back to the beginning. So this one's pretty good. A little bit there, but I think that would be okay. The first couple I made, I did not trim, and once I had it put together all the way, that is catching a little bit. See how that little flap's getting caught in there? So what you can do with that, even though this is 2 layers, 2 or 3 layers here on each one, if your paper trimmer, and I'm going to use the big one my big paper trimmer because this is going through a few layers. You can put it into your trimmer and just shave off a little bit. Now, this is where you can get your cardstock a little crooked. So just hold down really well, and you can just shave off a little bit of that. So let's see, let's get it started again from the beginning. See if we need to trim off the other side. It is a little bit. Just a tiny bit. That's a lot better than what it was. I think I can leave it there. Make sure I got it to the beginning. No. I said it doesn't really matter which way. Here, this is where I started. It doesn't matter which way you start. I think that one's catching just a tiny bit. So I'm going to take a little bit more of that one off. So wherever you find it catching, you can always just open it up, cut through those layers, and again, you should be good to go. All right, so this is where I'm going to start at. That's way too much of a gap, but it's fine. All right. Nice. Now, hopefully, whoever you give this to is going to be able to figure that out. It's fun. It's like a puzzle card. All right. So I have already started decorating one. So this is the one that's finished. These are all of the little pieces that you are going to need for decorating all of the individual squares. Now, one nice thing is all of the big squares, all of these are going to be exactly the same. So that's with the 8 pieces of 2.5 by 1 7/8. These are all going to be the same. And now this one, I put just decorative paper on each one. And then I did do some die cuts on top of the layering. You can decorate it any way you want. If you want to leave some of these empty, you go right ahead. But that is the longest part of making this card. So what I have done, because it'd take me about 20 minutes, not quite, to cut all these and glue them all down. So to save time in the video, I've already done every one except the front panel. So this one I've already done, this one I've already done, and that one. Isn't that cute? The papers are so cute. Now, this is retired stuff I'm using. I'm sorry. This is the stamp set that I used. CC Designs, the little unicorns. They're so adorable. This one is retired. And then your next stamp is going out of business. This is the paper pad that I used. I have about 25 6x6 paper pads that I'm sure they are all retired. Different companies, different brands, but I need to use them. And they're so cute, and they match. The unicorns, there's little unicorns there. So, anyways, I'm just going to do the front panel just to give you an idea of decorating it, because it's fun. It's like you're making 4 cards, because you're decorating each little panel, and depending on, you know, what kind of theme you want to go with, what kind of papers you have. If you don't have a lot of decorative paper, you can just use plain paper and just stamp on it. You can stamp right on this whole card front. You can do whatever it is you want. I have lots and lots of pattern paper, so that's what I used. Get that tape off there. I'd like to use that up because there are so many cute papers that are out that I want them all, but I have so many, I want to use them. I want to use them up. So you're basically, the measurements that, now I measured all these out. The basic directions of the card, I got from Stampin' Up! Years ago. They basically just told you how to make the card. They didn't mention anything about it catching on each other, trimming it off, and they definitely did not give you the measurements of every piece. So I measured them all and wrote them all down, so that way you can just cut them. I did mine each panel. So I decided what papers, what images I wanted, and I cut all those pieces, did my little stamping, whatever it is that I wanted to put on that panel first, and then I went to the next panel, and so on and so on. So you can do it however you'd like. Definitely will have fun. This is a fun card design. It's kind of an interactive card. Well, it's definitely an interactive card. It's not a pop-up of any kind, but it's definitely your recipient will, I'm sure, enjoy flipping through there, and they're going to play with it. So it's fun. All right. So that is the card done. And I have put some little sparkle, if you can see the little, each panel has some sort of little sparkle on it, like the cupcakes are sparkly. And then this piece is a die cut, and I just sparkled the whole thing. It's the Wink of Stella is what I used for the glitter. You do have to wait a little bit for it to dry, but not much. And then this unicorn has sparkle. So that's all of the mechanism of that card. It's really easy to make. And here's another one that I did. This one's one of my first ones. It was a lot crooked. I had to trim up a lot of it. Now see, on this one I just left these panels with nothing on it. So again, you can just, and then this one's fairly easy. All I did was put sentiments on it. I just stamped and punched out. I have a paper punch that punched all these out. And it is an A2, again, A2 size. It will fit into a standard A2 envelope, so I'll show you that. Just have to watch your little flaps getting it in first. But it does fit into an A2 size card. It's fine. The only thing about, like this one, I told you I layered die cuts. You can layer die cuts on these and they won't catch each other. The only thing I would say not to do is to use any kind of foam tape that raises it up. I think that those would eventually catch on each other somewhere, but you can definitely layer up pieces of paper. This cardstock here is pretty thick that I used on that, so yeah. I think they are fun. I haven't made one for years and years, and now I've made a whole bunch. So the basic mechanism again, here's the plane. And I do have, if I can show you this one, This is when I was figuring out how each piece, how big each piece is. I'll go through that, so if you want to see, well, which piece goes where, like the little ones, you can see that. But if you decide to cut them all out, once you get them cut out, you'll know where they go. So I hope you give this one a try. It's very fun. Sky's the limit on what kind of theme and decorating that you want to do with it. So I hope you give it a try. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.